Look at your hand, whatever shade it is, pale enough to glow in the dark or deep enough to drink sunlight, that color isn't decoration. It's a survival receipt. Your ancestors spent 300,000 years in a slow-motion negotiation with a star, and the star was not taking requests. Here's the part that flips the story. Trace any human lineage back far enough, yours, mine, anyone's, and it ends in the same place: dark skin. Every single ancestor, not most. All of them, around 300,000 years ago when Homo sapiens appeared in Africa, there wasn't one pale person on Earth. Light skin didn't exist, it wasn't even an idea. So what happened? How did one species end up looking so different? To answer that, you need to know what skin actually is. Most people treat it like wrapping paper. It isn't. It's your largest organ, running about 47 jobs at once. And one of the biggest is blocking UV radiation, the invisible energy the sun fires at Earth non-stop. UV breaks chemical bonds, it damages DNA. Enough damage in the wrong place and you get cancer. This is where melanin comes in. Melanin is the pigment behind skin color, and biologically it's a built-in UV filter. More melanin means darker skin and better protection. In equatorial Africa, sitting under some of the most intense sunlight on the planet, evolution didn't have to think hard. Dark skin meant less DNA damage, longer life, more chances to reproduce. Natural selection runs one calculation: does this help you survive long enough to have kids? In that environment, dark skin was a screaming yes. But there was a second reason, one most people never hear. UV doesn't just hit skin cells, it also breaks down a molecule called folate, a B vitamin your blood needs for a critical job. Building the neural tube in a developing embryo, the structure that becomes the brain and spinal cord. Without enough folate in the first few weeks, often before a woman even knows she's pregnant, that tube can fail to close. The result is catastrophic birth defects or miscarriage. Under constant African sun, with no clothing and no shelter, lighter skin meant more UV reaching the bloodstream, faster folate breakdown, more failed pregnancies. So now you have two completely separate threats: cancer and folate destruction, both solved by one thing: melanin. In Africa, dark skin wasn't just useful, it was mandatory. Which raises the obvious question: if dark skin was this good, why did anyone end up pale? Starting roughly 70,000 to 100,000 years ago, humans began drifting out of Africa. Not a dramatic exodus, just slow generational spread. A few miles further each generation over thousands of years, until humans reached the Middle East, Europe, Asia, the Americas. And heading north changed something basic: the sunlight got weaker. At higher latitudes, sunlight hits Earth at a lower angle and passes through more atmosphere. Less UV reaches the ground, especially in winter. Here's the twist: UV doesn't only damage you, it also lets your skin manufacture vitamin D. Your skin is literally a solar panel. When UVB hits a compound called 7-dehydrocholesterol, it flips a switch and your body starts producing vitamin D. Without that, you can't absorb calcium properly. Weak calcium means weak bones. In children, bones bend and deform, rickets. In adult women, the pelvis softens. And a soft pelvis makes childbirth extraordinarily dangerous. So the same melanin that was a life-saving shield near the equator became a liability further north. It blocked the weak UV needed for vitamin D just as effectively as it blocked the intense UV that caused cancer. Melanin can't tell the difference, it just blocks. In Northern Europe 40,000 years ago, a dark-skinned person couldn't make enough vitamin D from the gray, overcast sky. Their bones weakened. Their children developed rickets. Women died in childbirth. In a world with no supplements, no fortified food, no medicine that wasn't uncomfortable, it was a death sentence stretched across generations. Evolution, being the cold calculator it is, started selecting against dark skin in those regions. Random mutations that reduced melanin began appearing. Instead of disappearing, they spread because slightly lighter skin meant slightly more vitamin D, slightly stronger bones, slightly higher survival. Generation after generation, the average drifted lighter. But here's what ancient DNA revealed that nobody expected: this process was incredibly slow. Europe's earliest inhabitants, people who had lived at northern latitudes for tens of thousands of years, were still significantly dark-skinned. The most famous example is Cheddar Man, who lived in Britain around 10,000 years ago. DNA analysis shows he likely had dark to medium dark skin, dark curly hair, and blue eyes. A combination that looks bizarre today because we associate blue eyes with pale skin. But 10,000 years ago, that wasn't the case. The extremely fair skin common in northwestern Europe today, the kind that burns in 10 minutes, only spread widely in roughly the last 6,000 to 8,000 years. Out of 300,000 years of human history, that's the final 2%. So what hit the accelerator? Farming. The Neolithic Revolution, the shift from hunting and gathering to agriculture, changed everything. Hunter-gatherers ate fatty fish, organ meats, shellfish, eggs, foods loaded with vitamin D. Farmers ate grains, wheat, barley, oats. Their dietary vitamin D didn't just drop, it collapsed. Suddenly, populations that had been getting by with modest UV synthesis because their diet helped out were now almost entirely dependent on whatever their skin could produce. And if that skin was still fairly dark, it couldn't make enough. The pressure for lighter skin intensified dramatically. But there was a second factor. Farming meant bigger, denser, more connected populations. A helpful mutation spreading through a scattered band of 50 hunter-gatherers might take centuries to reach the next valley. The same mutation moving through thousands of people in a network of farming villages could spread in a handful of generations. Dietary collapse plus population density hit fast forward on European depigmentation. Within a few thousand years, skin tones lightened dramatically. Now, here's where it gets stranger. Skin color isn't controlled by one gene. It's polygenic, dozens of genes working together to control how much melanin gets made, what type, and how it's distributed. And when scientists compared populations, they found something remarkable. East Asians and Europeans both evolved lighter skin than equatorial Africans, but largely through different genes. Two separate populations, thousands of miles apart, solved the same problem independently, using different biological toolkits. That's convergent evolution. And when nature reinvents the same solution from scratch multiple times, it's biology's way of screaming that the pressure was enormous. While we're in the genetic neighborhood, let's talk about blue eyes. Every single person alive today with naturally blue eyes, every single one, no exceptions, traces the trait back to one specific individual, one mutation. One moment somewhere near the Black Sea region, roughly 6,000 to 10,000 years ago. Before that, every human on Earth had brown eyes. Think about that. Blue eyes are younger than farming, younger than Stonehenge. A trait we treat as ancient and fundamental is, on an evolutionary scale, brand new. So step back and look at the full picture. Skin color, the thing that has sorted people into hierarchies, justified atrocities, and shaped politics for millennia, is biologically just a UV calibration setting. It's your body's best estimate, inherited from your ancestors, of how much sun protection versus how much vitamin D production you need, based on where they happen to live. Light skin isn't an upgrade. In equatorial regions, it's a liability, more DNA damage, more cancer risk, more folate loss. Dark skin is the ancestral default. Lighter skin is the more recent variation, layered on top wherever the sun demanded it. The same star that pushed one population toward more melanin pushed another toward less, for exactly the same reason: survival. The sun never picked a side, it just kept shining indifferently, and evolution did the sorting. Today, technology has mostly stepped in front of that old pressure. We have sunscreen for too much sun, supplements for too little, and food shipped from every latitude on Earth. The evolutionary algorithm hasn't stopped running, it just has different inputs now. But the next time you look at your own hand, remember what you're actually seeing. Not a label, not a ranking, not a boundary between kinds of people. Just a very old, very literal record of exactly how much sunlight your ancestors lived under and what their bodies had to do to survive it. Every shade of human skin is a different answer to the same question asked by the same star, and every single answer was correct.